Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Greenfield. Welcome to Circular Economy Club London. We're going live again on our Thursday chat. Really good to see a few of you already joining us, which is great. Today we're going to have more of a, let's say, understanding of who is part of the Circular Economy Club. And in London in particular, many of you know that the Circular Economy Club is a volunteer network. All of us that run the Circular Economy Clubs across the whole country. In the UK, we've got 22 clubs. Across the world, we've now got over 270. Every single one of the people that organises events in their city is a volunteer. And you'll know some of us from coming to our meetings. You'll know me through a number of different routes. But today we want to actually let you know about the whole team and everybody that's working in the London group. And the London group's got a really, really exciting and diverse group of individuals supporting and putting on events. Prior to COVID-19, we were running events every month, and we were working with some really interesting companies, people like PwC, people like Ernst & Young, people like London Waste Recycling Board, some huge innovators like Biome, Toast Ale, New Wardrobe, Sustainable Ventures. There's so many that we could look at. But the people that sit behind that and spend time having meetings, deciding how and where we can host an event are really the important people, because without them we wouldn't have events. So we've got 5 volunteers, 6 if you include myself, in London, and we're just going to do a little bit of an interview with each of them, and we're going to go alphabetically because it's probably this most sensible way. And we're going to ask 5 questions, but we also want you to ask us any questions as well while we're going through this. So I can already see from some of you that have joined that we've got people in Holland, people in London, people around the UK, and people in Europe, which is great. So, and if you're further afield than that, then please let us know. And for those of you that have been watching our circular chats for the last 4 weeks, you'll know we're in lockdown because my hair is getting exceptionally long. But okay, so the 5 questions we're going to ask everybody is: where are you from? What is your job? How did you get involved in circular economy? How are you coping with lockdown? And what do you think will emerge from lockdown? So I'm just going to answer those very quickly and then introduce Anna, who's part of the team. So I'm from Brighton. My day job is I run Sonex, which is a circular economy research and innovation practice. Out the back of that, we've created projects such as Tech Takeback, Pothole Spotter, the Remanufactory, and I'm currently writing circular economy strategies for cities, doing a lot of data management and all sorts of other exciting stuff. I got involved in circular economy back in 2010. Very early on, and set up the first public sector circular economy IT club in 2013. Coping with lockdown, I've been working from home for 16 years. This is different in that I'm sitting at my desk every single day from 8:30 till 5:30, whereas I would have been wandering around all over London and the country. It's a lot more intensive. What will I think will emerge from lockdown? I hope that we're going to have a slightly different perspective on how the environment that we live in is actually appreciated and treated. And I think what I would like to see, and this is a bit of a well, look out for it tomorrow. There may well be a letter going to government asking for a green recovery, and that'd be something the Circular Economy Club is completely supportive of. Green being whatever you define it, sustainable, circular. We need to explore how we can have a better environment. So that's enough about me. I'm going to invite Anna to join us. Now, those of you that came to the first chat, we'll have met Anna, and Anna talked to us about her work and what she's actually doing. Anna, good afternoon. Welcome again. And I'm going to say this to each of you when I speak to you. As the organiser of the London chapter, I'd like to say publicly thank you for all of your support over the last couple of years here. Circular Economy Club. So let's start with, where are you from and what's your day job?
Well, so welcome everyone, and thank you for being with us today. My name is Ana. I'm from Colombia. I was born in Colombia, in Cali, and I've been living in the UK for the last 19 years, so pretty much. I'm from both parts. It's not... When I'm here, I miss Colombia, and when I'm there, I miss the UK, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and your day job is working in a lab?
Yes, so some of you know that if you were with us a few weeks ago. I work in the pre-analytical part of a pathological lab. So on a regular basis, we receive samples from, if you think in your body, anything coming from your body can be analyzed in a lab for different reasons. Could be blood, simple. Could be urine. Could be COVID samples. So yeah, nowadays that's the main thing. We, apart from being working at full capacity in the analytical part, we are also facilitating. We are working as a bridge between hospitals and places that on regular basis do different things. So let's say if I talk about the Greek Institute, on regular basis, they do cancer research, but nowadays they are pretty much focused on COVID testing.
Yeah.
So we work as a bridge, because in addition to being working full capacity for testing, we're supporting this as well.
How did you go from that lab work to getting interested in circular economy?
Well, my educational background is in sustainability. I've got a master's in sustainable environmental development, and so that is like my passion. And it's like, I would say, how did you get to work in a lab? That's how it's more like the kind of questions I ask myself. Maybe one of these days I'm gonna give you a surprise and say, okay, now I'm focusing my thing and get back to what originally I should be doing.
Well,
my passion, yeah.
And we look forward to that day. And how are you coping with lockdown?
Nowadays it's not too bad. At the beginning it was very difficult, and the main reason for that is because my brother works in the same place where I work.
Okay.
And even though we don't live together, at the beginning he was away from work for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So those weeks I spent that time by myself at home. The only people, well, obviously I have to go to work. I don't work from home. I have to go to the lab. There's no choice. So the first month, it was like from home to work and back. And another thing was like, I'm pretty conscious that because of what I do, I might represent a higher risk to others than the rest of the people to me.
Yeah.
So I'm taking my bike I ride my bike to work. It's like totally isolated apart from the time I spend at work. But since my brother went back to work, I have to say it's no point for me to be away from my family.
Well, indeed.
Because the risk is exactly the same. We do exactly the same thing, so it's no point. So the last couple of weeks, I've been with his family, my nephews, which are the close family I have here.
That must be so nice. It's much better than the first month, I hope.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
The final question: what are you hoping will emerge from lockdown? And this could be anything you want. It could be social, it could be environmental, it could be economic, or It could be just going down to see your mates at the pub.
Um, I see it in a positive way because even though there is many people who has been affected and many jobs have been lost and many places are being closed, I think at some point the economy will have to reactivate, and it will be reactivated in considering a lot more what are social, environmental, and economic impact of what anything we do in the same proportion. We have seen that the planet is basically talking to us, and we have seen a lot more. I think people is closer nowadays, and I think that is affecting us, and we know we can't go back to the same distance and to the same lack of awareness in what's happening in the planet. So I think even though in the next few months we will see difficult things, in the long run, it's a positive thing. Yeah.
Brilliant. I really hope so, because I think we're all benefiting from it. The amount of people I've heard saying, oh, the skies are looking so much clearer, there's less noise, you can hear the birds song, all sorts of things like that. That's great. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah.
And I would
Thank you.
on behalf of the Circular Economy Club, I think one of my highlights of working with you was last year when we worked at the Green Lab, and we did a interactive online discussion using Skype with Colombia, 2 cities in Colombia, and we thought we were really clever this time last year, and now everybody's doing. We were trendsetters. So you put a huge amount of work into getting that set up, and it worked out really well. So thank you, and thank you for all of your work in London. I'm sure everybody listening and watching will say thank you as well.
It's always a pleasure for me. So thank you.
As it is for me. Okay, now we're going to try something. We're going to move on to our next volunteer in London. Now, I will have to say goodbye to Anna. So, Anna, goodbye.
See you later.
Get our now, this is where I go bye Anna, and invite Jessica to come and join us. And Jess isn't actually in the country at the moment, so Jess, as we are waiting for you to join, Jess is in Europe, but yeah.
And I'm here.
Oh, hello. So
that was really easy, wasn't it? That was quite smooth.
That was. I had great fun just cutting off Anna and then have the power.
Sorry, Anna.
And in case anybody's wondering, I'm just tilting my head so I get the little curls on the pop-up behind me.
That's what you're doing.
Yes. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Jess. So I'm actually from France. So half British, half English, but I've been in England now for almost 7 years in September. And so I currently work for a company called First Mile. So they're a recycling company based in London. So I'm part of the marketing team at First Mile. So do all the social media, also the events, which at the moment, obviously not many events going on. So we've also started doing weekly Instagram lives like you guys. So that's taking up a lot of my time. And obviously with everything that's going on, we've had to re-event ourselves quite quickly. So we're now selling rescued plants and selling fruit and veg as well, because a lot of people are finding it hard to access fresh produce. So
the connection to France isn't as good as we hoped.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yes, I don't know what's happened there.
I don't know on whose side it is that it's not working.
But well, there we go. We'll try and sort out the technology, and maybe I'll just talk as though I'm a ghost.
Perfect.
But, okay, Jess.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about how you got into circular economy? And I'm going to try and get my camera working.
Okay, perfect. Well, I was actually thinking about this earlier. For me, it was a real snowball. Oh, there we go. You're back.
Hurrah! Well, not. I have to admit, I feel sorry for anybody watching, and I'm back. I do apologise.
No, it's nice to see you. Yes, I think for me it was a real snowball effect where when I was doing my master's, one of my modules was on circular economy. So that was about 3.5 years ago now, and that's when I understood what it was all about and basically completely fell in love with the idea. And I was just like, oh my God, and so excited about it. And I was like, why is not everyone doing this? And at the time I just, shared everything I had with my family and friends. I was like, we all need to be talking about this. And then it just snowballed into me then being a volunteer for a circular economy conference at Sussex or at IDS. Then I was part of the Brighton and Hove Club. I think I was helping organise a few workshops and stuff like that, which you were actually at that workshop, but I didn't know you back then. And then moved to London. And at that point, I was going to any circular economy event that I could find. So I think like Elwood did one. You guys obviously did a few. I remember going to one that was organised by the Dutch Embassy in London. So going to any event I could find. And then organise an event with the club with First Mile.
Yeah, which went really well.
Yeah, which was great. July last year. And then officially joined Circular Economy Club London in September.
Yeah.
So here I am. So yeah.
No, you're very passionate, and you're doing some hugely useful work in terms of helping to get this sort of stuff going. Some of us are IT Luddites, and Instagram Live TV we hadn't even heard of until 4 weeks ago when you suggested it. So no, thank you. And okay, let's talk about lockdown briefly. You've got a slightly different lockdown to us because you're in rural France. So how's France, and what are you hoping will emerge from lockdown?
I can't complain. It's been really, really nice being home. I actually haven't been home for this long since before I started uni.
Right.
So it's weird, but also we're all really used to it now. So I'm here with my sister and my parents, and we're just we actually just got used to it in 2 weeks. But no, it's been nice obviously spending a lot of time with family, and been the perfect moment to sort through every single room, whereas old books, DVDs and cassettes and all of that are finally going through those things.
But for those of you that are too young to know what cassette is, can you listen to the music?
It's been really, really nice, and it's nice weather, so I'm working outside, which is lovely. I really, really can't complain. I will go back to London at some point because I am paying rent for a house that I'm not in. So that's the only negative bit.
I think.
No. Otherwise, for post lockdown, or as we slowly open up the lockdown, I think just like Anna, obviously very optimistic. I think everyone in this club, we are very optimistic people to begin with. But, from what I've been reading on LinkedIn every day, there seems to be a sudden shift in priorities when it's like, well, if not now, then when? With everything that's going on, this is really giving everyone the push that they needed. And everyone's now saying, economic development needs to go hand in hand with sustainable development. And now is really the chance to do it. And I also think that post lockdown, we've realized stuff like companies that had people that used to travel, air travel once a week or a few times a month, are now realizing, oh, actually, you don't need to do that anymore because you've now discovered Teams or Zoom or Skype. So I think post lockdown, people will be traveling for work at least, way less.
Yeah.
And then also, as we do start going back to work, I think it will only be, you know, a couple of days a week. So maybe people that used to drive to work or used to drive to get the train, that will also be really reduced. So yeah, I think like carbon emissions wise, it's been very positive, and I think we will use that. I don't think everyone's going to go back to normal. I like to say that we're going back to the new normal, because as we all know, normal was the problem in the first place.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but the only thing I'm a bit skeptical and scared about is kind of returning and going back to single-use plastics. Even though the virus does live on plastics, that's not really a good, you know, a good idea. But then obviously we're going to be using masks, and apparently you'll need, you know, a mask to go to work, and then at work you'll have to then get rid of that mask and you'll be given a new mask. So all of that waste, that's stressing me out a bit.
And unless you can find reusable masks.
Well, that's the thing. I'm actually getting my sister to sew me a mask, but I don't know if, will that be allowed?
Well, I think this is something we're going to find out, and I suspect that in the great European experiment, we'll have different countries suggesting different things, let alone the worldwide debate. But yeah, it's definitely something that we're all going to have to consider, and it's going to will become part of our life. That it's interesting. I've spoken to a couple of people, a number of people suggesting that many Asian countries are already very used to wearing masks because of the need to for air pollution.
Yeah.
We're in Europe and in North America, and a lot of the rest of the world probably catching up on that.
Yeah.
Understanding what those mean. So
yeah,
Jess, it's been lovely having a quick chat with you, and
nice to see you.
Gives everybody a bit more an idea of, again, all the volunteers that are working in Circular Economy Club London. In the same way, I think I said to Anna, I think one of my favourite things with you and organising that first mile event actually was the amount of passion that you brought to the team at First Mile. And I think we had half the employees all in the seminar, which was brilliant. And that is what we need. We need people who are passionate and really committed to getting the messages out. So I say thank you on behalf of everybody in the Circular Economy Club. Thank you. And I'm now going to say goodbye, and I'm going to bring in Katerina.
Perfect. Bye. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you on this side of the channel.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jess is coming off, and we're now going to try and get Katerina on board. And Katerina, some of you will have seen, we were discussing fashion a couple of weeks ago.
Hello.
Hi. And yes, Kat, over to you. Who are you, and what's your day job?
Right. Well, you didn't ask me where I'm from.
Oh, and where you're from. Sorry.
That's the interesting bit, no? Well, I was born in Czechoslovakia. I'm from Slovakia originally, but I lived between UK, London and Paris, I guess, most of my life, adult life. So that's one bit. And what do I do? Well, we discussed...
you tell us...
Again?
Tell us what you were doing in Paris, because it was quite interesting.
Oh, really? Few things, as per usual. So I wanted to be a designer, of course, and that was the place to go. That was my dream. So I had my studio and my label, but I also sort of fell into teaching. And if you might remember last time, I was telling you how I randomly became professor of draping. So yeah, one of those jobs I did. Anyways. So.
Yeah, no. And now you're doing.
Now I do a few things again. I guess the main sort of categories I would say is still design. That's definitely my sort of DNA. I do a lot of lecturing and educational work in fashion and business. and then also a lot of consulting. So around sustainability, innovation, finding practical solutions for brands, and a lot of collaborations and a lot of sort of brainstorming around, you know, how to do this better within the fashion industry, at least.
Brilliant.
In a nutshell.
And how did you get into circular economy?
So, shall we tell the story how we met?
Yes, I think you should.
It's quite funny, right? So I was at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation Summit, I think it was called.
2018.
And,
2018.
in what? In when?
2018.
Oh yeah, okay. Gosh, the time flies. um, and then somebody sort of kidnapped us, me and my friend. I felt like that, you know. We just kind of followed some people. I wasn't really sure where we were going, and the next thing I know, I'm in a ball pit.
No.
As random as it is, and then we learned that it was a Circular Economy Club meeting, which we missed, but we got to meet, and sort of the dots started to connect and join, and then we ended up meeting quite organically in the following months and stuff, and then obviously our paths started to cross more professionally as well, and it was kind of a no-brainer, right? How it all kind of comes together, and because you don't have necessarily somebody for fashion, there was always the argument that, okay, I don't know anything about fashion. It's like, oh, okay, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been obviously coming to all the events, or most of them, and just love those discussions. And it's all about sort of radical collaboration and learning what's going on in construction and materials and all of those things. And then obviously bringing fashion in as a conversation, because it's very important, as we are all consumers. Let's not forget that. So I guess that was the beginning, and now I'm officially part of the team. So thank you for having me.
No worries. You bring energy and diversity and glamour. That's something that I definitely can't bring.
I try.
But in case anybody's wondering what the ball pit was, we're actually hosting at the Museum of Happiness a live stream of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation Summit, and there was you go to a kids play group and you'll see a pit full of small balls to roll around in. The Museum of Happiness had one for adults, and so after we'd done the live stream and had quite a few sustainable and circular drinks, I think it's fair to say, quite a few of us ended up in the ball pit. It was a good event. So you've been in lockdown in London for 7 weeks. How's it been for you?
Well, if I'm honest, it's been challenging.
Yeah.
You know me, that I travel a lot and I'm a very social person, so it was quite extreme in many ways. But you know, we have to adapt, and that's one of the things about being creative as well, to find the ways how to manage this and how to kind of keep sane, really. So I guess daily workouts, daily walks, and virtual parties with friends, that keeps me kind of sane. And then just focusing a lot of work and trying to kind of have a routine, but also break up the routine. So it's interesting. Otherwise, it feels like a prison a little bit, without sounding dramatic. But yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to be patient and using the time as well as I can. But it's, you know, it's challenging for all of us, whatever the situation we are in.
Yeah, and I think that's, being in central London is very different to being. I'm just on the edge of the countryside, so.
I know. I see the pictures all the time, and I always like want to scream. I'm like, don't do this to me. But yeah, I miss it so much, because one of the way I live my life, I'm a bit of a nomad, or have become over the years, and I have a second life in Mexico, in a jungle, and I need that balance. And if you are sort of stuck in that city setting, it's just too much. You know, I miss nature so much. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm so excited about going somewhere. Although I know the whole idea about flying and questioning our travels and footprint, it's definitely on my mind. But I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to get on a plane to go somewhere amazing.
Well, It's either going to be the train down to the south of France or a plane over to Mexico.
Yeah, a few ideas anyways. But yeah, I'm definitely going to consider my footprint, of course, and actually really see how I can offset it. And, you know, I'm always mindful anyways. I don't just fly for no reason. It's always about connecting business and work and research and holidays and all that. So, you know, we can do it better for sure.
Good. Well, and you've got people agreeing with you on the chat as well.
Okay,
so
good.
what do you think is going to emerge from lockdown? What the challenges, what the opportunities?
Right. Yeah. So I'm also an optimist. That's why we are all here.
Yeah.
And as a creative person and sort of somebody who is really constantly thinking about innovation and finding solutions. So I see it as an amazing opportunity to really rework, restructure things globally and of course within my sector, fashion industry. We are facing some massive challenges because as much as you know, the conversation about sustainability and circularity is definitely getting some sort of speed and getting bigger. There's a huge problem with the stock and inventory, which is leading to, you know, this horrific discount culture that it's emerging, and companies being in crisis and trying to get rid of even more stuff which we don't need. So it's about how we're going to manage this, so it's reasonable, doesn't create more problems really. But there's also a positive side of consumerism and the shift of consumerism. So I'm hoping that this time out from ordinary life or kind of the typical life of buying things and just spending money mindlessly will give us some understanding that how we can make a difference with our purchasing power, how we don't need to buy as much as we did before. So I'm hoping that there is this kind of global shift in terms of thinking, and that, you know, we are really more mindful about the connection with planet and nature, which we completely lost over the last 20 plus years. And now kind of seeing it directly, how we are affecting it and how it can heal also us be retrieving to our little homes. So yeah, always positive, being realistic, of course, about what might happen, and then trying to steer some ideas the right way, I suppose. So it's really exciting. I'm working with a lot of students, and just you know, knowing that they will be coming into the industry post COVID-19 very soon, you know, MA students, PhD students, and, you know, from fashion business and management. And they are really excited and they really understand, and being able to sort of shape their minds a little bit or kind of mentor them, like how they can make a difference and how to come in with a new mindset. It's quite exciting, you know, that so we can all kind of make a difference together. So yeah, hopeful, but yeah, realistic as well.
I think that's so exciting, really, because actually you've got a crop of students that haven't really understood the sector from your perspective, having worked in it for a few years and seen a lot of the wrong things. They can hopefully come into it with this new appreciation of the global challenge of a pandemic and the opportunities and the disadvantages. And in the same way that we've seen quite a few memes about let's worry about all of the children that have been homeschooled for the last 6 weeks, and when they get into power, have a lot of new recruits who are actually going to have a huge amount of respect for what has happened and hopefully be able to take that on board. So
yeah,
brilliant.
Fingers crossed.
Katerina, thank you, and again thank you for all your work. And you've stolen my favourite story of when we met. But I think it's
telling the truth.
I think it's fair to say that we had a brilliant talk at Istituto Marangoni before Christmas. It wasn't. No, it was after Christmas.
No, it was in February.
It feels like years ago.
Sense of time. Fair enough. I mean, who knows what year it is anyway. So.
You hosted and organised an absolutely brilliant panel debates, and I think for those people that are not used to fashion, it's so enlightening. And the crossover between fashion and other design and practice activities is so similar. You have to think about what's going to happen at the end of life. So, Katerina, thank you very much. Thank you for volunteering, and
Pleasure.
hopefully the lockdown's getting better for you, and we might be getting some let up in the next few weeks. And you're getting a lot of love online for the Istituto Marangoni event that we have. So
Good.
thank you.
Pleasure, and take care. Speak to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Right. So our fourth volunteer, and we are, as I said, we're going in alphabetical order, is Natalie. Now, Natalie and I have known each other for a little while. So when Nat comes on board, she'll be able to tell you a little bit about what she's doing and where she comes from. And we're having a little bit of trouble getting Natalie on, which means I'm going to have to pad. While I'm padding, it's really nice to see so many different people on from across the world. I know we've got some London people, definitely. We've got some French people and people from Brighton, which is great. I'm going to just try rebooting Natalie and see if we can get her on. If Natalie can't join us, I'm going to have to go unalphabetical and invite Sat to come on instead. I'm going to... Oh, here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry, this is... I realised I hadn't enabled access to my camera and my microphone, so therefore I had to come out and come back in. Sorry.
There we go. Not a problem. Welcome. Hi. How are you? Where are you from? And what's your day job?
I'm from the UK, originally from Bedfordshire, and then moved down to Sussex to go to university, and ended up living down there for quite a long time. Moved back up to Bedfordshire about 7 or so years ago. My day job, my background's quite solidly in waste management, which is how I know you, David. Well, actually, I know you before that, but
yeah.
I've only known you for 20 years.
Is it that? Oh, it's a little bit longer than that.
Yeah. I've worked in waste prevention, collection, disposal, done a bit of landfill engineering, service improvement and efficiency, and now I work for, your company, Sonex, doing some research on waste recycling and circular economy. And I also work for the reuse charity Freegal, where I lead on a project trying to get local authorities to take us more seriously, I think is how one of our directors put it. Trying to encourage them to work in partnership with us to increase reuse locally.
I think it's fair to say Freegal have got 3 million users across the UK, and it's still a little known platform. There's a lot of newer platforms that people know a lot more about, but have the same sort of penetration. I think Freegal's really interesting at a community level.
Yeah.
So tell us about circular economy, and for most people that have worked in the waste sector, it's a relatively simple transition.
Yeah, I think it was for me. It's just a real logical progression, really. Circular economy didn't really exist when I was working in waste management.
You sound so old now.
I am now.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to say that.
When I sort of, it's really sort of a fairly new thing, but I did a research project scoping asset sharing for London. And then I was asked to do some work for Circular Economy Club London, looking at mapping circular economy businesses and initiatives across the city. And that was probably 3 years ago now.
2017, February 20.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was interesting.
2018.
Oh, was it?
I had the map open earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a really nice introduction into circular economy. But I guess it's something that I've always done, but just didn't know that that's what it was called at the time. And it's something I've always been quite passionate about. And I've always wanted to work in an environmental field. And so this is it's just an extension of what I'd already been doing, really. And then came along to a few Circular Economy Club London events, and then ended up volunteering officially.
Officially, indeed. And I think just talking about that first bit of work you did, which for those viewers that don't know about it, it was 2018 actually, rather than 2017. So it was 2.5 years ago. The Circular Economy Club did a worldwide mapping event. So 67 cities held events to gather information about what initiatives, projects, companies were working on circular economy in that area. We did one in London, and Natalie, working with the co-organizer at the time, Linda O'Halloran, and her brother, took all of the data that we gathered on a really exciting Excel spreadsheet, which all of you know me say I love Excel spreadsheets, which is sad, I know. That's my just exciting. And Natalie went through and actually researched, I think it was about 260 different companies, initiatives and opportunities, and all of that is now on a Google map available to anybody, open source. In London there's one in Brighton, and the Excel spreadsheet is on the Circular Economy Club website, available to everybody. And as the Circular Economy Club, that mapping event allowed us to get shortlisted for the UN Sustainable Development Goals Action Award, which was really exciting. We didn't win, but getting into that list is brilliant. Anyway, that's a slight diversion.
But important.
So that's how you got into circular economy.
Yeah.
How are you coping with lockdown? You've got a slightly different experience to everybody else that's speaking so far.
Yeah, so, well, I normally work from home, so that hasn't changed, but now my house is full of people. So no one in my house is commuting into London anymore. No one's going to school. I have become teacher. And so that has been hard, but also at the same time, it's been really nice because we've all been together, and we don't normally see each other that much. So it's been quite good to just spend weeks on end all together, really. But I mean, luckily I live somewhere quite rural, so we've got lots of outdoor space. And so we're really lucky because we can just go for a run or a cycle whenever we want to, and there's not really anyone around. And the roads have been quiet, so it's been great for going out on the bike. So I feel lucky compared to people who maybe live in a flat in a city and don't have that space. So I guess we've kind of got it easy, really. And also where I live, no one's really been affected by the virus. So I don't know anyone who's had it. So it's strange. We're living in a bit of a strange bubble where everything's stopped. Well, yeah, it's been interesting, but it's been nice because it's nice and quiet. There's no plane. We're on a big flight path here, so we haven't had any planes flying over. So that's been quite nice, and it's been all right.
Oh, good. Well, family time is so important. So a silver lining, I think it's fair to say. I as with all the others, as with the rest of the volunteers, finding a favourite story, and because I've known you the longest, I can go back a very long way. But I'm not going to embarrass you, Natalie. Don't worry. I'm not going to talk about wearing reusable nappies on our heads, but which is going back a very long time. No, I think one of the things that you've done brilliantly in the Circular Economy Club London is just been there for all of the events, and all the events that you've got involved in organising and leading on and taking part have just been so exciting. So I would say again, thank you ever so much for getting the Circular Economy Club in London to where it is now, and we're going to have some more exciting events when we can actually see each other. But I think the online ones are working as well. They're a bit simpler to organise, and we don't actually need to. We don't need to actually book a room, which is so much easier.
Yep.
So, Nat, thank you very much. Say goodbye to everybody, and I'm going to bring on our next one.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Nat. Okay. So that's 4 of the team, and the final member of the team is Satish. So, Sat, I'm just going to invite you. Now, hopefully that's going to work. Yeah, we've got a really diverse, interesting, well-educated and passionate team, and welcome, Sat.
But it's also come into the news recently because it's been at the forefront of fighting coronavirus in India. It's been one of the best practiced states. They've actually had it almost completely eliminated. So that's me.
Brilliant. And what's your day job?
My day job. Well, before I get to my day job, I think I should say that I'm a bit of a Forrest Gump character. So I've been everything from an academic through to a management consultant, through to an investment banker, through to an entrepreneur now. And this is my fourth business, actually, fourth startup. So what we do is we address the big problem of how we all work together, which is the C word, which is collaboration. We all say we collaborate, but we collaborate in a pretty awful way. Even when we have these technologies like Zoom and Team and Skype and all that stuff, we don't get to really express what's on our minds and get alignment across all of the people in the group. So we've been developing a technology over the last few years with a company in the US that brings together all the perspectives in order to align everybody so that we go straight to the destination, what we want to achieve, and build a roadmap to get there. And that's quite difficult, even in our current situation, because Zoom and so on work, but we still miss a lot of stuff. And I think a few weeks down the line, we'll probably think, actually, maybe we're really longing to get back into meeting rooms, but the meeting rooms are also inefficient. Anyway, that's what we do.
It's a very interesting opportunity in technology. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll discuss it much more over the coming weeks and months. So, it's, as you said, I don't think I had anticipated describing you as the Forrest Gump of the group, but that might now. I think I'm a challenge with you on the amount of things I've done. But so how did you get into circular economy from that very diverse background?
Well, I started out as an engineer, as a chemical engineer, working in oil refineries with SO and with food manufacturing companies like Unilever and Procter and Gamble. And what I saw there was just, astounding, mind-blowing, because I was trained for this, and I was trained to create, bad stuff that ends up in the environment. And I just thought, there's got to be a better way. I ended up, moving into different careers where I got to learn about finance and consulting and all of those great things. And I lived in the US for about 8 years before coming back about 8 years ago. And I realized that there's an opportunity for us to bring together all that expertise in operations, finance, strategy to sort of transform systems. So systems change is what really drives me. I've set up bicycle hire ventures in London before Boris Bikes came along, and lots of sort of initiatives that have been done, but how do you make them stick? And I think I've solved the problem with our partners in the US using this alignment technology.
Somebody's actually asking the question, where in the US are they based?
Well, they're based in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So how did you, I've just asked you how you got involved in circular economy. How have you been coping with lockdown?
It's been kind of okay because, I work from the home office anyway in general, but in terms of...
It's rather than the UK government home office.
That's right, not in the UK government home office, that's true. And the thing is, we went into lockdown a week before the government said to everybody else go to lockdown, because I came back from an event, I think it might have been a circular economy event actually, thinking I don't feel too well and I don't know if I brought something back into the house. And my mum lives with us, and so therefore I didn't want to pass anything on to her. So we went into lockdown about 8 weeks ago. I've been out of the house 3 times to go to the local walking Tesco's, the Tesco Metro, to get some milk, and that's it.
Yeah.
But
I think it was actually the EY event that we hosted, and we actually went for quite restrictive social distancing, and that was first week of March, so we were very much ahead of the curve in terms of this, and EY were ensuring that there was no risk at all to anybody. So yeah, I know that I've been self-isolating to the extent that I take the dog for a walk and go for a bike ride, and I've been to the shop once in 7 weeks. We've been lucky enough to have home deliveries, which is a challenging thing to sort out, but we've been very lucky. So there's a question that I haven't actually asked Natalie yet, so I might get Natalie back on after this to ask her the question. But what do you think will emerge from lockdown?
Wow, I think we're going to see a very different world in so many different ways. I think we've come to realize that we, as human beings, want to stay connected in some way, not just for work, but personally as well. And we're finding ways to do that. So we're highly innovative to figure out, okay, how do we stay in touch? It'll mean changes to the economy, changes to the supply chain, changes to schooling. But I think all of that is sort of driving innovation. And I think when we get to the other end, we'll have found some really cool ways of doing all of these things. Sadly, obviously, a lot of people have died, tens of thousands in the UK, hundreds of thousands across the world. And, you know, it's so sad that this is happening, or this is happening, or this has had to happen. But it's sort of reset things with us, right? In terms of the environment and all of those other things about how we work together has changed. And I think for the better in the long run.
And I think, as you say, it's a sad way where the globe has got to this position of understanding the impact it's had on Mother. But if anything good can come out of it, then exactly that. So, Sat, thank you very much. And I think in terms of my favourite story, it was definitely the Imperial event that we hosted. I think what was that? That was October, was it?
I think so, October, November, yeah.
I think it was October. And you weren't actually organising it until about a week beforehand. It was a really good event. We had you were hosting it, and it worked out brilliantly. So again, thank you very much on behalf of everybody at Circular Economy Club. Your volunteering has been great, and we look forward to future events. So
I just want to say you've been a great Jeremy Paxman, by the way. Great interviewing.
Thank you very much. I think I've probably got more hair than him at the moment, as most people. Right, I'm going to say goodbye and then ask Natalie just to come back on and answer the question that I failed to ask her. Is she still on board? Here we go. And then we're going to finish up because we've been talking for a while, and I know I can talk for a while, and I just really wanted to use this opportunity to get the team to come out of the shadows a little bit and give them the credit they're due. So, Natalie, I didn't ask you.
No, I know.
What are your views? What's going to happen as a result of lockdown?
Well, I think there's been a lot of opportunity to do some online learning. So there's been a lot of webinars, and I think it's been good for getting knowledge out to people. So I'm hoping that people will come out of this maybe a bit better informed. I think there's going to hopefully be less rushing around. I mean, we certainly have enjoyed not rushing around and not tearing from one place to another and not having to travel so much. So I'm hoping that maybe people are going to rethink the way that they work a bit more, you know, not having to go into London for meetings or flying here, there and everywhere, when actually online stuff works just as well. I think it's really made people evaluate the way that they live. I know a lot of my friends have been starting to grow their own vegetables and baking from home, and you know, no one's been in their car for the last 7-8 weeks. So, you know, hopefully those sort of habits will stick. And I think it's made people just reevaluate kind of what's important. So friends and family and health and maybe the planet a bit more. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, we can only hope, I think.
Yeah, and I think sort of from a work point of view, especially from Freegal, I mean, I think we're all saying there's probably going to be a lot of people who are in need financially after this, and we're hoping that there's maybe been a bit more resilience built up in communities, so people are going to be more willing to help. And that's where sort of organisations like Freegal and FreeCycle can step generate a bit more of a community spirit.
I think one of us had a poor connection. It might well have been myself.
I think it did. I carried on talking.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I had a poor connection, and then my phone decided to slip off the little makeup stand that I've made for it. But thank you very much, Nat, and it's been a huge pleasure working with you, not just on Circular Economy Club, but across all the years in many different ways. So I'm not gonna kick you off the call, because I think what we're going to do is just do a little bit of a plug for next week's event. Next week we've got Professor Fiona Charnley, so the circular economy. The circular economy hub that has been appointed by the UKRI to lead the coordination of an interdisciplinary circular economy centre. We're going to discuss that programme, what it means for UK academic research, but also what it means for an impact for the circular economy clubs. Then we're going to have hopefully a really exciting group of events over the coming weeks, talking to some of our colleagues in UK circular economy clubs, talking to the London Waste Recycling Board, possibly also doing some international conversations, but also speaking to some of the brilliant startups that are working in London and beyond London. So, Natalie, if you'd like to say goodbye from yourself.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you that have been watching. Please do get in touch. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on any social media platform that you can find. If you've got any questions for us, then just send them through and we'll try and address them at the next Instagram Live. I wish everybody a very happy and safe long weekend. We're still under lockdown, so try and make best use of the space that you have at home. Try not to go out, and we look forward to seeing you this time next week. Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.